Today we're going to be looking at this DeLonghi portable air conditioner. We'll unpack it, take a look at the features, test it out, and I'll kind of show you how I'm going to set it up here in my shop. So let's get started. So I got this off my porch. I'll show you what condition it was in on the porch, so I don't even know if it's going to work. To look at the footage from my doorbell camera just to see what happened. So I came up here to bring this to the shop, and that box was on top of the air conditioner, and that box was sitting next to it. Now clearly this is one of those boxes you're supposed to cart around, and this should be attached at the bottom so that way you can move it around. But assuming that this works, and I'm still going to post this video, it's a portable AC that's rated to 14,000 or 8,600 BTU. I don't know what the difference is. It says cools up to 700 square feet. Normally that would be attached, but in my case it was not. Actually, all the accessories are in this nice little container here. Oh, and there's the bag that was on top of that. It's got some handles. Oh, and it's heavy. But it's on casters, so you can roll it around. So here's a better look at the accessories here. There's the exhaust duct right here, and various tubes and things. There's a remote control. All kinds of other stuff, because the way this portable AC works is it vents out all the hot air from the back to go outside, where you can roll this around and put it anywhere in the room, versus a window unit where you have to have the entire thing outside. Just gives you a little more flexibility. Some controls up here. This, I'm guessing this pops up when you turn it on. Right now though, because I don't have any of the ducting bought or anything, I'm going to vent it out by closing the garage door except for a little crack at the bottom. Vent out that way just so I can test it out to see if it'll actually cool this space. We're going to put this in here. I'm going to use this for my temporary garage door setup. You'll see right here you can snap it into place and it'll show a little arrow to show you that it's locked in place. Now as for the tube, it doesn't give you a lot of distance. It looks like about 3.5, 4 feet maybe, but it should be plenty if you're putting it next to a window or something. There. This is by no means a permanent solution. So if I read the instructions correctly, you can do this without, well, I have to move that back. So there's two little caps here. This bottom cap, they're both drainage lines. Now, if I read these correctly, if you're just kind of in your room or whatever, it'll actually store some condensation and then you can let it out with this little bottom drain. Or if it's really humid like it is outside in a shop, you can actually unscrew this top cap and set up a drain line, which is what I'm going to do. There. Oh, there you go. If it's not working, there's a little breaker button here that it's a circuit breaker in case it gets wet or something, or blows the circuit. So, anyways. And we're going to turn it to I don't hear it. It's still kind of blowing hot air. Hang on a second. Oh, wait a minute. The compressor just kicked on. It's cooling off. I think we've got air conditioning. Alright, so I think so far we're working. You can set it to automatic, but in this shop it's just not going to work. But it's actually got 3 different modes. Right now it's on AC mode, and it's automatic fan. Apparently you can only change the fan speed with the remote. I gotta put some batteries in it. But it's got a little remote. It's got a dehumidify mode, which should just be AC, but maybe cooler? Or maybe lower fan or something, I don't know. It's also got a heat for the winter, but we're going to let this run a little while and come back and see what the shop feels like. So what I have set up here is I have the exhaust hose going up to a dryer vent. It's kind of small, so I may go get a bigger one tomorrow, but I've got it running up the wall and then out one of the soffits vents out there. Alright, so it's a few days later, and while the AC works, the little ducting thing that I had up above, it makes the compressor stop because there's too much back pressure. I read online you can't extend the exhaust too far, otherwise it has trouble pushing the air out. So what I'm going to do is drill a hole in the wall and exhaust it out the side. Now obviously we're not just going to put a hole in the wall and do nothing else. We're actually going to set up a exhaust vent. So this is actually designed, I believe, for a vent hood, like over a stove. But basically I needed something that was big enough to fit the exhaust. This is the thing that goes on the end if you have the window adapter. The tube itself is 5.9 inches. This is 6 inches, so it should fit right over the inside there. So on the other side of this wall, and the reason I can do this so easily is because my house is siding. Now, the tricky part about siding is that it's very brittle and very easy to crack and shatter. So we're just going to have to be really careful when we do finally cut through with the hole saw. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is kind of measure this out. So we're going to kind of find, I don't want it right on the ground, but I want it pretty close. That's going to be pretty good, and what we'll do is drill a pilot hole. Hopefully when I get to the siding, it will go through without pushing the siding out or anything. Try to poke that screwdriver through. Alright, I didn't get any resistance, so hopefully I didn't just push the siding off. Alright, that's pretty good news. Because each one of these pieces is siding, so there's a piece, these 3, this is a piece, and this is a piece. So I'm actually going to drill my hole a little bit lower, but in line with this hole. That way I'm only cutting through a single piece of siding. So I got myself, and this is actually the biggest one I could find at Lowe's, a 6-inch hole saw. Now typically you're going through wood or metal or something with these, but if you go really slow, you can get through the siding without damaging it. So you can see with the hole saw, it's got a little center piece. So this will be the pilot hole that extends out a little bit farther than the hole saw itself. That way it'll stay centered and it won't wiggle around up and down or anything. Pretty much right in the center of this slat. Once we mark that, we'll put the hole saw on and get to cutting. And what I'm doing is drilling a pilot hole first. That way I don't have to kind of look around the hole saw to try to find it. And now we have a big gaping hole in the wall. Alright, so here's our hood. So it's got a little block for critters and there's a little flapper there, so it'll be closed when the AC's not running. Once we get it past that first lip, it'll make it a little easier. Oh cool, this comes off. Neat. That there already isn't. a little bit easier. Threading this in. Alright, so as you can see, this is what we got on the other side. On this side, the screws are in the stud. These come through the wall, but no big deal. And this, the end's kind of beat up now, but it's the perfect size where I can take the exhaust hose from the air conditioning and then just strap it right down there with a band clamp over. Alright, and there we have it. We got our vent to the outside, no back pressure, so now the AC should run pretty well. Let's get it hooked up. Okay, so now we're running. Compressor's on, and it's venting out using the tube. And you can see on the other side, it's blowing nice hot air. So that way we can get the shop air conditioned. Hey y'all, I forgot to record an outro. So I'll just let you know I've had this set up for a couple weeks now. I've worked in my shop a couple times with the AC running. I don't have any insulation in the shop, so it doesn't work great. But, I mean, the system I set up, the compressor runs fine. It doesn't cut off or anything. It works great. It blows really cold air. I'm sure that if I had a properly insulated shop, or if I were to use it inside in my office or something, it would be ice cold in whatever room it's sitting in. I haven't really tested many of the automatic features where you can set a temperature or dehumidify or anything, but just the fact that the compressor blows really cold, I'm sure those functions work well. I may try out the heat during the winter when I'm in the shop. I'm pretty sure you don't actually need the exhaust for the heat, since it's just a heating element that it blows the air across. But overall, I think everything turned out really good. I can definitely recommend this unit. It was on sale through Woot. It was refurbished, but other than a few scratches here and there, it seems pretty much brand new. As for the shipping issue, that's why it's a good thing to have a doorbell camera, so that way if it hadn't worked, I would be able to send it back. So hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.